Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shrutismrutipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarkshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaham स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसां पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om. Namaste. Namaste. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yav prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So, based on the last two verses of the 7th chapter, Arjuna raised 7 questions in verse number 1 and 2 of this 8th chapter. And Krishna started answering them from the 3rd verse onwards. In the 3rd and the 4th verses, Krishna briefly answered all the 6 questions. And from the 5th verse onwards, Krishna wants to elaborately answer the 7th question, which is dealing with the remembrance of the Lord at the time of death. Antakale Ishvara Smaranam, or Antima Prayana Kale Ishvara Smaranam. And that is going to be answered in the rest of this chapter. And by the way of answering this question, Krishna proposes to deal with an important topic. And what was that? Ishvara Upasanam. And therefore, before we discuss this 5th mantra, it is important that we understand some background about Ishvara Upasana. We have seen the 7th chapter, a lot of details about Saguna Ishvara, Nirguna Ishvara, etc. Para Prakriti, Apara Prakriti. So, Ishvara means Lord with attributes. Saguna Brahma Ishvara. So, Saguna Ishvara Upasanam means meditation upon God with attributes. Saguna means with attributes. Ishvara Upasana, meditation on God. which can be either taken as Rama Upasanam, Krishna Upasanam, Devi Upasanam, any Ishta Devata Upasanam. All these devatas have got certain attributes which are described in various ways in Ramayana, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Devi Mahatmyam, etc. So when we actually go through these texts, we come to know the attributes of that particular Ishvara. An attribute means personality, a particular form, a particular color, number of heads, number of hands. So many details are there. In fact, every dhyana shloka gives the description of the Lord in a particular form. And as we discussed in the last class, Saguna Upasana can be first classified into two types based on the motive. And they are Sakama Saguna Upasana and Nishkama Upasana. Sakama Upasana is the practice for all worldly benefits other than spiritual goals. So it can be Artha, Kama or Dharma, which will benefit me in this Janma, or which can benefit me in the next Janma or future Janmas. I can practice this Upasana for material benefits belonging to Ihaloka and material benefits belonging to Paraloka, like going to heaven, etc. And for a better birth also, I can practice this Upasana. Even various miraculous powers called siddhis, they can be attained through the Sakama Upasana. A person can attain extraordinary powers like capacity for knowing the past, knowing the future, knowing the past janma of not only that person, of the others also. Capacity to see even what is underground, below the earth, like water divining, etc., without any digging or etc. Countless siddhis are mentioned in the Puranas, in Bhagavatam, etc. All as a result of what? Sakama Saguna Ishvara Upasanam. And this Saguna Upasanam can give twofold result depending upon the motive and attitude with which it is done. As I said, Sakama and Nishkama. Nishkama Upasanam will give you what? Chitta Shuddhi. That is Nishkama Saguna Ishvara Upasana. Meditation, which is exclusively utilized for spiritual growth, by which I mean acquiring the required qualifications totally and asking for appropriate opportunity for getting moksha. So any sadhana connected with moksha, we can call spiritual growth. And this Nishkama Saguna Upasana itself can be divided into two types. In one, person practices Nishkama Upasana for acquiring all the qualifications for entering into Nirguna Jnanam. Because we have seen in the 7th chapter that Saguna Ishvara is not the ultimate reality. Saguna Ishvara is only empirical, Vyavaharika Satyam. And if you want a strong word, it is Mithya only. Nirguna Ishvara, which was called Para Prakriti in the 7th chapter, that alone is the ultimate reality. Without the understanding, knowledge of the Nirguna Ishvara, no moksha is possible. And therefore, a person can follow Saguna Upasana, Saguna Nishkama Upasana, prepare the mind very well, gain chitta shuddhi, and switch over from saguna upasana to nirguna jnanam. So upasana to jnana yoga, by which we mean Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So practice Nishkama Upasana, acquire the required qualifications, and then switch over to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam, attain moksha in this life itself, which is called Sadhyo Mukti or Jivan Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti means what? Instant liberation. Like, we have got all these instant idli, instant sambar, instant moksha you will get in this life itself. So this is one course of sadhana a person can do. You must remember that the practice of this upasana is not for material benefit but for spiritual growth. In Mukundamala Stotram, there is a beautiful sloka. Nasta dharmena vasunichaye naiva kamopabhogaha yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanurupam etat prarthyam mama bahumatam janma janmantarepi tvat padamboruha yugagata nischala bhaktirastu. Tvatpadamboruha yugagata nischala bhaktirastu. That's how you have to stay at that. Okay, so here the devotee says, "Oh Lord, I am remembering you not for artha, nor kama, nor for punyam. I am not interested in any one of them because I know that they are all perishable in nature. I have got only one goal, and that is the spiritual goal called moksha. Or in the religious language, we can say Paramam Padam, you Bhagavan, yourself is my goal. I want to attain oneness with you. I want only Ishvara Aikyam Praptihi, which is otherwise called moksha. And this upasana naturally requires vairagyam, because as long as I have got the kamas, I will use my bhakti only for fulfillment of them. Only a viragi bhakta can become a nishkama upasaka. So, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is very much required. At least few qualities. First quality, vairagyam is required. So, this is one method. Sadhyo mukti you get in this janma itself. Then there is another alternative method also. A person follows saguna upasana. Afterwards, he has to come to nirguna jnanam. But somehow he finds he is not able to switch over to nirguna ishvara because switching is not that easy. While doing meditation, you can visualize the Lord with attributes. How can you visualize the Lord without Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha? There is nothing. In fact, in the 12th chapter, Krishna himself will admit, Klesho katarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dhukkam dehavat bhiravapyate. He will say it is very difficult. Dukkham, very difficult. So appreciation of and inquiry into Nirguna Ishvara requires a very subtle Sukshma Buddhi. Kathopanishad says, Trishyate Tvagraya Buddhya Sukshmaya Sukshma Darshibihi. And therefore, if the mind is not ready for Nirguna Ishvara, it will not appeal to that person. Then what should that person do? Of course, he wants moksha, no doubt. He wants Ishvara Prapti. He does not have any interest in any other material goal. He is a Nishkama Purusha, he is a Mumukshu Purusha. But his mind is not ready for Nirguna Vichara. So then what he should do? Krishna says there is a solution. Keep protecting your fire of enthusiasm or desire for liberation or moksha alive. Maintain your nishkamatvam or vairagyam very well. Continue the saguna upasana throughout the life. One need not come to nirguna vichara. Continue to be attached to your Krishna, your Rama, your Devi, or whoever it is. But whenever you are meditating, make sure that it is Nishkama Mumukshu Upasana. Because of this intense desire for Ishvara Prapti, a person will be able to successfully continue, and naturally at the time of death also, a person is going to remember what he values most. I mean, some time back, I remember one of the students asked this question. What about, people like Saint Tyagaraja, Bhadrachala Ramadas? They all did Ishvara Upasana only. They all sang the praise of Saguna Ishvara. Did they not get moksha? This was a question. Answer lies here. They would have got moksha, but not sadhyo muktihi. That nishkama upasana which they did of Saguna Ishvara, at the time of their death or leaving this body, people like them are going to remember only that which he or she values most in his or her life. For Tyagaraja, it is Rama whom he valued. And being a Saguna Upasaka, at the time of death also, he will remember only Saguna Ishvara. And as a result of that, what will happen? Certainly, he would not get liberation in this life. He would not become a Videha Mukta, because he has not come to the higher Ishvara, Brahman. He has not gained Brahma Jnana. Therefore, liberation is ruled out because of his intense desire for God. But because of that, he is supposed to go to Brahmaloka. Because of this Saguna Ishvara Nishkama Upasana, he earned so much punyam that the doors of Brahmaloka get opened for him. And he goes to Brahmaloka after he leaves the body. And this is what Krishna will say later. He says Jivatma will go through a special path, Shukla Marga, and that Jiva will go to Brahmaloka. Then what happens in Brahmaloka? Krishna says a person who is desire of moksha alone goes to Brahmaloka. First reason, condition. So you must not only be a Saguna Nishkama Upasaka, you must also be a Mumukshu, And because you have not come to Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam in this Janma, you get an automatic visa to go to Brahmaloka. And in Brahmaloka, there will be ideal condition for Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam. Because Brahmaji himself, who taught the Vedas, he himself is there. So he will get an opportunity to gain the Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam, which eluded him in this Janma. That he can very successfully pursue. Suitable conditions will be provided, guaranteed by God. And the scriptures point out that there, Nirguna Jnanam is not imparted by any ordinary guru. It is imparted by a far, far superior teacher, teacher of all teachers. Sakshat Chaturmukha Brahmaji himself. He will be conducting classes there. And Brahmaji, the four heads representing the four Vedas. Not only the four Vedas, all four heads are seeing different directions. So he will know what all students are doing in the class, outside the class. You can't escape his sight. You cannot miss a class and go for some movie in the Brahmaloka. Or, sit and watch television. Brahmaji will not get tired of teaching, and you are also not supposed to get tired at all. He will keep a close watch on you so that you cannot miss classes. No excuses will work. And there will be no hunger because Brahmaloka is, no hunger, no thirst. Mind also will be pure, ideal. Body also will cooperate. So all these things will be there. Brahmana saha te sarve samprapte pratisanyare parasyante kritatmana pravishanti paramam padam. Param padam. This is what is said in the Shastra. So this Nishkama Upasaka, Nishkama Saguna Brahma Upasaka goes to Brahmaloka, attains Jnanam, Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam there, and attains moksha, liberation. And this course of liberation is called Krama Muktihi. So the first one is called Sadhyo Mukti or Jivan Mukti. And this one is called Krama Muktihi, liberation in stages. And Krishna says, a Nishkama Upasaka can follow either of the method. And in this 8th chapter, Krishna is going to specialize on Krama Muktihi. So this is one unique chapter which deals with Krama Muktihi, whereas the 7th chapter and even coming 9th chapter, 10th chapter, etc., Krishna highlights what is Sadhyo Muktihi, liberation here and now. But the underlying message of Krishna is, he wants to point out, don't postpone liberation because you do not know what will happen after death. Because you will do all the Saguna, Ishvara, Nishkama, Upasaka in this life. But you don't know what you have done in the past life. So some of those karma phalas may be ready for maturity in the next life, which may act as an obstacle for you to go to Brahmaloka. You might have earned enough punyam in this janma. That will not go anywhere. That punyam will be standing in your account, but there could be obstacles. Or there may be so many people who have done this. this Saguna Ishvara Nishkama Upasanam, and everybody will be qualified to go to Brahma Loka, and there will be a traffic jam. Only, Brahmaji also will admit only certain number of students for his classes. He cannot be taking classes for a huge number of students, because Vedanta teaching is like that. You will not be able to manage. That's the difference between teaching and pravachanam. Pravachanam, any number of people just listen, that's all. Not a problem. But teaching, he has to ensure that every student gets the teaching, gets the message of the Vedanta. Therefore, limited number of seats. And if there is a traffic jam, huge crowd going there, we do not know whether your chance will come in the next Janma, or you have to wait. You are put on the waiting list. And therefore, Krishna is saying, emphasizing, having got this wonderful human birth, where only you can get this Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, follow Nishkama Upasana, gain Jnanam, and be free here and now. There is no need for you to wait to go to Brahma Loka and all that kind of a thing. So that is Krishna's primary advice. But as I said in this chapter, Krishna is taking a diversion. He is also talking about Krama Mukti, which is a optional route, a longer route, an optional route, effective route. Both are effective, valid. One is instant. The other route is, you don't want to make instant idli, get that what is that instant idli mix. 2 minutes, put everything and put it in the idli, cooker, and then 15 minutes idli is ready. But you want to go the long way. So previous night you will soak the rice, the urad dal, etc. Then, sort of grind them, mix them, add some salt, etc. Let it ferment overnight. Then that will become ready for some soft, nice, fluffy idlis. Then you make the idli. So this is the difference. Sadhya Mukti and Krama Mukti, this is the difference. You can always keep the idli example in your mind to understand the difference between the two. So with this background, we have to study all the verses, rest of the verses in the 8th chapter. So let us look at the 5th verse. Yah prayati. Yah refers to Nishkama Saguna Upasaka. So one who has practiced Saguna Ishvara meditation like Rama Dhyanam, Krishna Dhyanam, Devi Dhyanam, etc. throughout the life, never came to Nirguna Brahma at all. He or she did not come to Vedanta Vichara hai. The person throughout his life has been attached to his or her Ishtadevata. And such Saguna Upasaka Prayati. Prayati means suppose he dies. Kalevaram Muktva. And leaves this physical body and travels. Because travel is definite. Because he has died as a Jiva, not as a Jivan Mukta. Only if one dies as a Jivan Mukta or leaves the body as a Jivan Mukta, then there is that no travel involved. But for all ordinary Jivas, including this potential candidate for Krama Mukti, travel is necessary. And therefore, the Upasaka's Jiva will leave this body and travel. And that Jivatma will take the Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram as well. So therefore, Kalevaram Muktva. Kalevaram means Shariram, the physical body. So leaving this physical body, he travels. Then what will happen to him? Antakale, at the time of death. Anta means final, last moment. So suppose a Saguna Upasaka dies leaving this physical body. In the last moment of death, what does he do? Mam eva smaran. Smaran means remembering. Mam eva, me alone. Me, the Saguna Ishvara alone. Me, the Saguna Ishvara only. Krishna adds that word eva to emphasize. Remembering me alone. He does not have one of the thoughts is Bhagavan's thought. No. Oh, I have not completed this, I have not completed that and all that. And then there is also a thought you are remembering Krishna. So, Mam eva smaran. Only remembers Ishvara, Krishna. Or whatever upasana, on whatever Ishvara he has done upasana. The Rama, Devi, Guruvayurappan, Dharmasastra, any Bhagavan you have done upasana with. Remembering only that Saguna Ishvara alone. What will happen to him? Mat bhavam yati. He will certainly get krama mukti. So here mat bhavam refers to krama mukti. Intermediary stage. Krishna does not elaborate. So therefore we have to supply whatever is missing, fill up the blanks. Mat bhavam yati means first he goes to Brahmaloka, attains knowledge there, then gets liberation in stages. This is called Krama Mukti. And suppose a person asks, all this fine, Krishna is saying, okay, in the Gita, what is the guarantee? Krishna says, I am giving you the guarantee card. Atra samshayah na asti. There is no doubt about that. Such a devotee will come to me alone. Mad bhavam yati. So this is the Krama Mukti route which Krishna has introduced in this sloka. So there are two routes, Sadhya Mukti and Krama Mukti. So moksha is not that difficult to attain. It is not that difficult to get rid of Punarjanma. It is not that difficult to get out of the samsara chakra. There are alternative ways. Choice is yours, whichever suits your personality. You can choose that particular route. So now the next sloka. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada madbhava bhavitah. Same theme, but he is now slightly elaborating. Anvaya is He Kaunteya Smaran yam yam va api bhavam tyajati kalevaram ante tam tam eva yat eti sada tad bhava bhavitah. Another very important point Krishna is making. He Kaunteya, O Arjuna, Smaran, thinking of, yam yam va api bhavam, whatever objects, or you can say va means or thinking of whatever object, tyajati, one gives up, kalevaram, the body, ante, at the time of death, tam tam eva, that very object, eti, one attains, sada tad bhava bhavitaha, being always steeped in that thought. So Arjuna, thinking of whatever object one gives up the body at the time of death, that very object one attains, being always steeped in that thought. Because here there is a Krishna is presenting a logical reason which is there in the Shastra as to why he has said that if you actually think of me at the time of death, you will attain me. So he says, whatever object you think of at the time of death, you will attain that. So if you think of me, you will attain me. So in another way also we can look at this sloka. Suppose a person asks, okay, at the time of death, one should remember God. Fine, very good. But we don't know, at the time of death, we may be having pain all over the body. We may say, oh, ayo, and things like that and all. We may be crying. We may think of everything else except God. So the question will be, suppose a person does not remember God and remembers something else. What will happen to that person after death? For such a possible question, Krishna gives a general reply. He says, in the next janma of a person, or the next janma of a person will depend upon the remembrance at the time of death. There is also a famous proverb, isn't it? As a person thinks, so a person becomes. It's a very powerful law, which is a fact. It is a law applicable not only after death, but it's a law applicable during life itself. And that is why, in management schools, etc., they actually profess a can-do attitude. Whenever you have got any project, any assignment, your thought should be, I can do this. Not immediately start looking at, what all problems will come. That should not be thing. First thought should be, is it? Appears difficult, I can do it. Can-do attitude is what is emphasized, professed in management schools. Even Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Yo yat shraddha sa eva saha kamamaya evayam purusha iti sa yata kamo bhavati tat kratur bhavati. Yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurute. Yat karma kurute tad abhisampadhyate. Even Upanishad says this. And that's why, there is a beautiful saying in English. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your action, they become your habit. Watch your habit, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Therefore, your ultimate destiny or future condition is already determined by the thought which you are entertaining. Even though the thought seems to be too feeble, but when they are continued, when there is a vritti pravaha, they can decide your future. And that's why, we see so many boys, very poor background, economically challenged background, because they have got that conviction that they can reach higher levels in their career, in their profession. Their thought is always that only in their mind. And once that thought goes, automatically, the doors open, the roads become wider. You travel in that path. And what Krishna wants to emphasize here is that not only this law is applicable within one's life, it is applicable with regard to the next Janma also. Mundaka Upanishad students, we will see Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha sa kamabhir jayate tatra tatra. We'll see this mantra later. So with whatever desire of objects or environment a person dies, he will find himself in such a setup and with such an object. And that's why we have got the story of Jataparata Upakhyana. How he had the noble intention to pursue spirituality and got attracted to a small deer. The deer becomes deer, D-E-E-R became D-E-A-R. But that's okay. He protected the deer because it was hurt. It was small also, a baby deer. And after it became okay, it grew up, he could have actually let it out in the forest. But what he did, he started meditating, and all his thoughts in the meditation was about the deer only. He had literally, you can say, fallen in love with the deer. You have to read that story in Bhagawad. Then times have come when he is only obsessed with the deer. And naturally, at the time of death also, he is worried. Who will take care of the deer after I die? Just we all worry, What will happen to my spouse after I die? What will happen to my children? All that worries. Everybody Bhagavan has made, he will take care of them. Why are you worried? We will be better off forgetting things before we go. But then this is the human psychology. Then the story goes, Jadabarada is supposed to have been born a deer, as a deer. Whether it's really happened or not, it's a question. But Bhagavatam says he was born as a deer. And of course, after some time, after that Vasana was over, then that deer also died. Anyhow, those are stories, not important. What is the lesson that is taught? And that important lesson Krishna imparts in this sloka. Kalevaram ante tyajati. Suppose a person drops the physical body at the time of death. How? Yam yam bhavam smaran. Remembering various objects in his mind, any particular object, any particular goal in mind, remembering that. Then tam tam yeva yeti. He will certainly attain only such a birth which is in keeping with the person's thought process. So yam yam bhavam smaran kalevaram ante tejati tam tam bhavam eva yeti. Bhavam means such a condition, such a life. Eti he attains. He kaunteya. So this is a very important law here, Arjuna. May you remember this. Now, some of us, clever people may be thinking, but that's not a problem. We can easily find a loophole. We're all very good at finding loopholes, isn't it? Shortcuts. So they'll say, what did Krishna say? At the time of death, whatever you think, that will determine your next birth. Okay. So what I should be bothered about? Only the last thought. Just when I'm about to die, that thought should be of Bhagavan. So until death, I can think of anything, I can do any akramam. And when I know that the death is knocking at the door, then immediately I will switch on the tape recorder, Vishnu Sahasranamam and all. I will think of the Lord or whatever you want. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, that will not work. And because of many reasons. The first reason is, how do you know what is your Antakala? Like I read in today or yesterday's news, a couple celebrating their silver jubilee marriage anniversary somewhere. They had invited a lot of friends in some hotel or something. The program was there. They were dancing. Music was playing. They were dancing. The husband collapsed and died. So how do you know when is your Antakala? Will Yamadharma Raja send you a SMS or a WhatsApp message that on such and such date and such time, I will come to fetch you? So we do not know whether Yamadharma Raja decides, or if it is an accident case, whether any spoiled rich kid with a fancy sports car, or even the local auto rickshaw or a truck driver decides when should be our Kala. We do not know. Therefore, there is no question of planned thinking at the time of death. This is problem number one. Then the second problem is the thought of a person is based on two forces. One is the will of the person, the other is the vasana of the person. Our thought process is governed by our will and our vasana. Vasana means what? Our habit, our samskaras, our mental impressions. Now, at any time, the thought that we have in our mind will be decided by one of the two. Sometimes the will become successful. Suppose because of our vasana, we get some adharmic thought. Immediately we'll say, oh, you are a Vedanta student. You must not entertain adharmic thought. So remove it. Will dictate. So you will remove. But sometimes the vasana becomes successful, which you will know when you try to sit in meditation. Try this. Suppose you have planned a family trip with children, wife and all. You are very excited about it. During the whole day, you are thinking about it, what you will do, how you will go, what more arrangements need to be done and all that. Sit in meditation. There won't be any Saguna Ishvara anywhere. Only travel arrangements will be there in the meditation. So even if the will intervenes, hey, you are sitting for meditation. Don't think of other things. You'll say, oh, meditation every day I do, Baba. But this travel I'm going to do only, after so many years. So let me actually do the planning and all that. That is what the vasana will dictate. So the will direct the mind to mentally chant Rama, Rama, Rama or Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. But the vasana decides to think of everything else other than that. So there is always a constant clash between will and vasana. Will planning one thing, vasana deciding another thing. And as we grow older and older, the vasana becomes more and more powerful because they gain the momentum, which is caused by 50 years, 60 years, 70 years of habitual thinking. Whether you are consciously thinking or not, they go on and on and on. So as we grow older, vasana becomes stronger. Our subconscious is saturated with thought, which we have dumped in the last so many years. We have pushed it into our subconscious, all these thoughts. And will become feebler and feebler. But even when we are young, we are finding it difficult to think what we want, what to talk of at the moment of death. Almost impossible for us to control our thought process. And therefore, Krishna says, the only alternative method is your vasanas should be Shubha vasanas, godly vasanas. You have to saturate your subconscious with Ishvara Chintana, Daivi Sampat. And then alone, even if your will is feeble or not, even if the person is in coma, where will is absent, subconscious will have only what he has trained. And therefore, Krishna says, do not try to deceive me. That will not work. If you have to think of the Lord, at the last moment, preparation should start right from now, this very moment. You can even call it, if you want, rehearsal for death. All of us are going to die. There is no doubt about it. Atra samshayam nasti. So you start preparing. When you are going to US or something, maybe 3 months down the line, you have booked the ticket. Do you not think of that every moment and say, oh, this I have to take, this I have to take? My children are there, I have to take all these foodstuffs, whether they will allow in the US or not. You will go to the internet and find out what all things are allowed. Isn't it? So many preparation we do for a journey, which at least you are more or less certain. Of course, if something intervenes, a different thing, that it will happen. Death is sure to happen. So why not think about it? Not think about death, not worry about death, but think about preparation for death. What all things that I need to do? Maybe you have to write your will. Okay, good, do it. Pray to Bhagavan, please give me, the opportunity to write my will. Good. But in and through everything that you do from now on, what should be there? Ishvara's thought only. That's why, in Gurukulam and all, many people, when it is talked about, when Acharya talks about, they don't like this topic. They say, what is talking of death and all that, They don't want even to say the word death. They've got some aversion. What to do? The only reality in life is death, but that they want it. But then these are all bitter facts which we have to face. So we better be prepared to face them. And Krishna is interested in our well-being. He is not discussing this topic whether we like it or not. He is not trying to scare us or anything. And therefore he says, Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Bhavita is soaked in, saturated with, influenced by. Tad bhava Ishvara chintanam. Tad here refers to Ishvara. Bhava means bhavana or chinta. Thought. And when you should do sadha. So by constant practice, make your subconscious a divine or godly oriented subconscious. And that is why one great devotee, called Appaya Dikshita. That's a good, beautiful story about him. He was a great exponent of Advaita Vedanta. And he wanted to find out what is in subconscious. Because normally, if we want to find out what is in our subconscious, all that we have to do is go to sleep and tell our spouse to keep awake. and observe our sleep. We may have some dream which will all be thrown out of the subconscious, and we may be blabbering something and things like that and all, which can be noted down next day. You can say, oh, these are the contents of your subconscious. So the dream will give a clue to what is inside. Of course, when people talk in dreams, sometimes it will be hazy, inaudible. But this Appaya Dikshidhar wanted to find out what is in his subconscious. And therefore, he took the milk of a particular plant. It is a very common wild plant in India. I don't know overseas whether this plant grows. It grows in the wild automatically, the wild plant. In Tamil, it is called erik. Those who Tamil will know erik. It has got some pinkish, whitish, small flowers. And I searched in Google what is erik means in English. It says milkweed or crown flower. As I said, small flowers, white or light pinkish color. If you pluck a flower or a leaf, a thick white milky substance will come. And if a person consumes that, it is said that he will be temporarily off balance. So we are actually, children and all, we warn them, don't go near that plant itself. If you actually touch that milk and even put it in your eyes, you may go blind. That is what I was told in my childhood. Anyhow, this is how the story goes. So he called his disciples and said that he was going to consume that milk. Because that milk is also supposed to have some intoxicating qualities. And so he said, I am going to consume that milk. And said that when he was not in his senses, that is either sleeping or, he becomes intoxicated, he asked the disciples to note down whatever comes out of him, whatever he says. If we try that, what all things will come out. All dirt, impurities, suppressions, raga dveshas, which are all buried deep in our subconscious, they will all come out. But what came out of Appaya Dikshidhar is a great stuti or a hymn on Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was his Ishtadevata. It is called Atmarpana Stutihi or Unmatta Stotram. Since he was Unmataha, Unmataha means intoxicated from that milk of that plant. So what was in his subconscious was only Advaita Chintanam. And that is what came out because he had practiced with such a devotion. Satchidananda Rupa Shivoham was only there in his subconscious. And therefore Arjuna Sada Tad Bhava Bhavita hai. Be ever committed to your ultimate goal of God. And therefore what one should do, Krishna is guiding in the next sloka. We will read the sloka and then continue the discussion next class. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu manusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddhihi mame vaishyasya samshayam. I'll give the Anvaya also. Tasmat anusmara mam sarveshu kaleshu cha yudhya arpita manaha buddhihi mayi eshyasi mam eva asamshayam. Tasmat, therefore, anusmara mam, remember me, sarvakaleshu, all the time, yudhya, and fight. Arpita manabuddhihi, with your mind and intellect fixed. Mayi, upon me. Eshyasi, you will attain. Mam eva, me alone. Asamshayam, without doubt. So the simple meaning of the sloka is, therefore, remember me all the time and fight. With your mind and intellect fixed upon me, you will attain me alone doubtlessly, O Arjuna. More we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavad hai everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Guruji, thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Namaste. Pranam.
Namaste. Pranam.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you. Yes, Girish ji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Can you please explain the difference between samsara and samskara?
Samsara has got two meanings. One is the general meaning. Samsara means the world. Right.
Okay.
In Vedanta context, samsara means all the problems of the world.
Okay.
That is the meaning of samsara. Samskara means all the impressions and, the based upon our orientation, our thinking, our habits, that will differ from individual to individual.
Okay.
That is samskara. So samskara, you can call it orientation or habits, habitual thinking, based upon what your past experiences, your past behavior.
Okay.
Well, suppose there is someone, at the drop of a hat, he becomes angry. Everything, that is his samskara. That's his habit, Anybody says anything, he will immediately react angrily only. One example of samskara. So, samskara is different, samsara is different.
Very good.
Okay. Any other question?
Why PhD is being called as doctor in philosophy? Actually, people are pursuing on different subjects, but eventually they have been given the
Name as philosophy.
Right.
See, the word philosophy itself, you have to understand what it means. Philosophy means a thought of or an ideology of a particular person which he has given out, which he believes is true, he gives out. Correct? So, when we talk of chemistry, philosophy, PhD in chemistry, doctorate of philosophy in chemistry means some, Nobel Prize winner or somebody has done some research in chemistry, and it is his idea he is presenting, which for the moment, the entire world, especially his counterparts, they accept it. Okay, this is a very valid theory, very valid concept so far as the world is concerned.
No.
So that philosophy is a thought of a particular person or a theory, or you can say, someone has actually come up with a certain explanation for certain unknown phenomenon. It's a philosophy. So that philosophy is a very general term. It can be applied to any branch. That is why even when we talk of Vedanta, normally casually people use the word philosophy, but philosophy is not the right word to explain Vedanta, because Vedanta is not any one person's thought. It is Bhagavan's thought. It is the cosmic law rather. So it is not a philosophy. Philosophies can change. Today, you are a PhD, you can get Nobel Prize in physics for saying something. Because some time ago, some years ago,
Okay.
a person, he discovered this light principle, and what is light consist of? He said light consists of particles.
Okay.
He was given a Nobel Prize, PhD. Then after some time, after some years, another physicist came up. He says that light does not consist of particles. It consists of waves.
Okay.
So that person also he actually negated the previous person's theory. He was also a doctor of philosophy. That fellow was also doctor of philosophy, but new philosophy. So he was
believe it was
given
in some-
Nobel Prize. Then a third person came. He says light is neither particle nor wave. It is wavicle. How did it? He says light, when it depends upon the medium, light behaves differently.
Okay.
Because light generally in space is a particle, but when light enters the medium of water, like water, it bends. The light rays bend.
Correct.
So that is a behavior of a wave, not particle. Particle will not bend. So it is a wave. So he called it wavicle. He also got a Nobel Prize. So philosophies keep changing. Whereas Vedanta never changes. What was taught by Brahmaji himself, as we are seeing in Mundaka Upanishad, what Brahmaji taught, even today we are doing the same thing. There is no change in that reality. So to call Vedanta as a philosophy, generally, casually you can call it, because that's a word people will understand. We don't have any other word. We only have got the word Siddhanta. So when we say Vedanta, we say Siddhanta of Vedanta. What is the ultimate message, ultimate reality which Vedanta gives, which will never change? That's the difference between philosophy and applying with the philosophy to Vedanta. Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Any other question? Nilva? So I will close the class. See you next week. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Pranam.
Hari Om.
Thank you all. Hari Om.